So we get to head down to the DMV today and drop off the, slip off the registration for the 92 Accord because it's sold. So it's sort of a mixed feeling for me because, you know, I had the old Accord since, been driving it since 2004, and yeah, as great as the new Mercedes is, that car took me from one end of this province to the other, you know, sleeping in it at times and just everything, you know, and it was such a great vehicle, like maintenance wise, next to nothing ever went wrong with it, and yeah, with almost 400,000 kilometers on it, it was just time to let it go, right? So I just got the winter tires there the other day. I went in and I did a ton of research online before I picked out the right tires and the rims and everything. And I'll probably insert some B-roll here or something of, you know, what they look like. But so this car actually came with the upgraded tire package. It's got the sport package on it. So there were the 17-inch wheels and tires that came on it, and the staggered ones. So it's like 245 40 17s in the rear, and 225 45 17s up front. And I didn't even realize it, but apparently there's this whole debate as to whether 16s would even fit on this car. And I still don't know for sure if this has the upgraded brake package or not. I kind of suspect that it might not. But when you look in there with the 17-inch rims, it really doesn't look like there's a lot of room. So I can sort of understand why people are unsure about the you know, 16s being able to fit. So anyway, I checked out the sizing and I checked the offset and everything on these Momo rims that I ended up getting. And to me it looked like they should fit, just from the dimensions and everything. And on one of the Mercedes forums, actually, there was a guy in Ontario who put Mercedes replica rims on in a 16-inch, and he even had like the AMG brake kit, because I think his was actually a C230 or something like that. And he said there wasn't a whole lot of space there, but they did clear, and it was fine. He'd already run them for a season, and it was great. So, so I ordered everything up, and I specifically told them I wanted the rims test fit before before they mounted the tires on them and everything, right? And that's always a good practice, I think, because, you know, there's always unforeseen things that can come up. So anyway, they did it, and everything cleared fine. The other issue was, because these are sort of supposed to be a universal type rim, these Momo, they're Momo Next rims in black anthracite is what I ended up going with. So because they're universal, the size of the cutout for the hub center, they make it quite large, so of course you need hub-centric rings to go in there and take up that space. Now when I say you need them, really all they're there for is just to make sure that the wheels stay centered. I mean, when you put the lug bolts in, it's going to sort of center up your wheel anyway, but I mean, they could move just that, and you know, just that fraction of a millimeter. That's what gives people a vibration at higher speeds on the highways and stuff like that. So it's good practice to throw those in. So anyway, I didn't think, I had a bet going actually that there was no way that they were going to have the right size rings, but actually, because the rims I wanted had to be ordered in, they actually sent them, because they had the specifications for the vehicle, they sent the right size hub rings. So on this vehicle, the hub cutout on the wheel is 73.1 millimeters, so that would be the outside diameter of that little spacer that you need, and the inside on these is 66.6. So you need a 66.6 to 73.1 millimeter hub-centric ring. And the only reason I bring that up is because it seems to be a big issue with people on the forums. They can't seem to figure that out. So anyway, that's what size it is. You don't absolutely need them. You could run without them if you want, but if you're getting a vibration or something like that, I definitely put them on. So yeah, I'm running the Winter Contact SI from Continental, and Continental they make the recommended tire for this vehicle anyway. Not that, you know, but anyway, I've never run Continentals before in a winter tire. I've always used like Michelin's or something like that. I was actually looking for Blizzaks, but there was nothing on sale or anything like that, and yeah, when I did the research on the Winter Contact, I don't know, the reviews are really good, so that we'll give it a try. The thing I didn't like about the Michelin X Ice when I'd used them before, like on the Honda and stuff, is that in snowy or slushy weather, anything where, you know, it'll pack a little bit, I found the tread would load up on them like crazy, and it was just like driving on glare ice. You know, when it was just like snow or slush, the tread would never clear on them. On ice, they were unbelievable. You would almost think that you were driving on like a studded tire because they grab so well. But yeah, in the snow and slush, which is what we have here 90% of the time, because they use so damn much road salt and whatever that de-icing fluid is or whatever. You know, ice isn't that big of an issue. So, and apparently these are supposed to be really good on ice, but you can see they've got the way that the tread blocks are laid out and the spacing in between them. There's a lot more run for the water and slush and stuff to escape. I'll stop off and get a little bit of fuel here. Yeah, so the new C230, I'm absolutely loving this car. It has been great. I hope it continues to be great. So yeah, having driven this car for the last 3 weeks, and then having to get into the Honda there again just before I sold it, because I wanted to, you know, make sure everything was working right. And what a difference. What a huge difference. It just, the finesse of the way that it drives, you know, the Honda, all of a sudden you notice the clunkiness of it. And not just that Honda. Most Hondas I've driven, now the newer ones have got a little bit more refinement, but I don't know, I'm sort of the opinion that Hondas started going to shit kind of in the mid 2000s, definitely later 2000s. I don't like any of them. Just quality wise, I think that they really fell off. And there's a lot of other companies that, you know, stepped up their game in that period of time. You know, that 92, that was sort of in the golden era for Hondas, you know, up through the 90s and the early 2000s. That's a hard time to beat. But yeah, since, you know, I've been reading a lot about different vehicles, I've always sort of been a fan of cars, and like I said before, like, you know, I wasn't really looking for a Mercedes, but you know, I had been looking at the BMW 3 Series, but I really wasn't sure about it just because of maintenance costs, and, you know, I mean, half of what you read on the internet is bullshit anyway, but, you know, how do you know unless you've owned one or know someone really well who's owned one, and sort of know how they take care of their vehicle and how they do things. You have no idea what you could be in for. So, you know, I was still considering BMW, but hadn't pulled the trigger on one. And actually, it was getting to the point, right, where, you know, I was just looking for something to get me through maybe a year or two, and then I'd sell it, and then, you know, or in conjunction with, you know, have a sports car type deal. And not that this is, it's sort of borderline sports car, I'd say. It's definitely got more performance than most of your average consumer cars. it's very quiet. It's more of a luxury sedan, I guess, in some ways. But it is, the C-Class, so it doesn't have all the high-end refinements. But, it definitely has more power. And with the sport package, that different suspension and the tires and stuff like that, like those bigger 17s when I had the summer tires on here, they handle surprisingly well. Like, I took the car out through some different spots that, I had driven the Honda through before, like some twisties and some up and downhill sections and whatnot, and this thing at speed, doesn't even break a sweat doing it. So yeah, I don't know, it's not like the sportiest thing out there, but it's got enough performance that you can have a good time in it, and most importantly not go to jail when you're having fun. So yeah, that's the thing too. When you're looking for a vehicle, at least in my case anyway, I wanted something that's a little bit sportier, a little bit fun to drive, but I didn't want to sacrifice too much on fuel economy. I didn't want to sacrifice too much on reliability, and that's sort of a broad topic, reliability, and how you choose to define it. But I also wanted something that was a little bit more refined in the way that it drove. So really, like, finding this Mercedes was, I think, the best of all worlds. It's the best possible solution. And it's funny because in the beginning I wasn't even considering Mercedes. Like I say, it wasn't even on my radar. But that's why you've got to be constantly reassessing when you're looking for stuff, and don't be too impatient. But I know for myself, like, when I'm especially with vehicles, I know when the right one comes up, I know when the right one comes along, and yeah, when it gets to that stage, it's like, don't be afraid to pull the trigger. Because there were some other vehicles I was looking at, and, I was sort of hesitant, and I hummed and hawed, and that to me is just, a clear sign, once again, that, I do know what I want. It's just a matter of finding it, and it could take some time, but I'm willing to invest that time, because I think in the end, I feel better about my purchase. And because maybe when I found this vehicle, it was sort of like, once we had negotiated it, and probably I could have even negotiated a better deal if I was a little bit more detached from it, but I still got a good deal anyway, I think. And yeah, it was sort of like, at that point, it's just like, here, take my money. I don't even, yeah, no, I'm really, really happy with this vehicle. I think it's great.